The IED detonated 3 feet from where I stood. My heart stopped beating. The medic counted 47 seconds of nothing, no pulse, no breath, no life. He was writing down my time of death when my eyes opened. What happened in those 47 seconds has no medical explanation. 3 Army doctors reviewed my case file. All 3 said the same thing: this is impossible. I'm David Chen, 36 years old, 12-year Army veteran, combat engineer instructor. This happened at Fort Bliss, Texas, April 2019. My job was teaching soldiers how to detect and neutralize explosives. I'd done it 1,000 times. April 23rd was supposed to be just another training day. That morning started like every other Tuesday. Coffee at 5:30, briefing at 600. 22 new recruits waiting in the Texas sun, notebooks ready, eager to learn the skills that would keep them alive downrange. We were running a standard IED identification course. I'd set up the training area myself the night before. 12 dummy devices spread across the range, each one designed to teach a different recognition pattern. The devices were inert, triple-checked, verified by Lieutenant Morrison and Sergeant Hayes, signed off by the range safety officer. Every box ticked, every protocol followed. I was demonstrating proper approach technique on device number 7, showing the recruits how to read the soil displacement, how to spot the trigger mechanisms. My hand was tracing the outline of what should have been a harmless training prop. 17-year-old Private Jackson asked a question about wire colors. I leaned in closer to point out the details. That's when I felt it, a warmth that shouldn't be there, a subtle vibration traveling through the casing. My blood went cold. I looked up. Sergeant Hayes was already moving, his face white. He'd felt it too. I opened my mouth to shout the evacuation order. The world exploded before the words could leave my throat. The blast wave hit me like a freight train moving at the speed of sound. Later, they'd discover a catastrophic supply chain error. A single live charge, identical in appearance to our training devices, had been shipped in the wrong container. One mistake in a system of thousands, one device in a batch of hundreds, and I'd knelt directly beside it. My body flew backward. The armor plate caught the shrapnel, hundreds of metal fragments that would have shredded my chest. But the concussive force passed through the Kevlar like it wasn't there. Blast waves don't care about armor. My heart stopped instantly. The pressure wave disrupted the electrical signals. One moment it was beating, the next nothing. Both lungs collapsed, the air crushed out of them, the tissue compressed against my ribcage. My brain began dying. Oxygen starvation, irreversible damage starting at the 4-minute mark. Sergeant Hayes reached me in 15 seconds, 20 years of combat experience. 3 tours in Iraq, he'd seen this before. He knew what stopped hearts looked like, and mine wasn't beating. He started compressions. Doc Martinez arrived 30 seconds later, medical kit already open. She checked for a pulse. Nothing. She checked again, still nothing. Martinez had saved 17 lives in combat. She knew the protocols. She knew the odds. She began working chest compressions, airway management, following every step of her training. 1 minute passed, 2 minutes, 3. At 4 minutes, brain cells start dying. At 5 minutes, the damage becomes permanent. At 6 minutes, you're filling out paperwork. Martinez reached 7 minutes. Her hands were still moving, still compressing, but her eyes told Hayes everything. She'd already made the calculation. She'd already accepted what came next. 8 minutes. She stopped compressions. Her hand moved toward her medical pack, toward the notebook where you record times and circumstances, toward the forms that turn a soldier into a statistic. Hayes told me later he was already thinking about what he'd say to my wife, how he'd explain that I'd died doing what I'd done 1,000 times safely, how a 1 in a million error had taken me on a random Tuesday in Texas. Martinez's hand was on the notebook when my entire body seized. My back arched off the ground. Martinez jumped back. She thought it was a post-mortem spasm, the body's final nerve firings, the muscles contracting one last time. But then my chest moved, a breath shallow, ragged, but unmistakable. Martinez stared. She looked at Hayes. "That's not possible," she whispered. My lungs were collapsed. The scans would later confirm it. Completely collapsed, tissue compressed, airways blocked. Breathing was mechanically impossible, yet air was moving. My chest was rising and falling. Then my heart, no defibrillator, no drugs, no intervention, it just restarted, beat, beat, beat. Martinez grabbed her stethoscope with shaking hands. She pressed it to my chest, regular rhythm, strong like it had never stopped. My eyes opened, focused on her face. "Doc," I whispered, "what happened?" The medevac arrived 12 minutes after the blast. The flight medics took one look at the scene, the crater, the scattered equipment, my shredded uniform, and started preparing for the worst. They'd flown this route before. They knew what IED victims looked like at this stage. But my vitals were stable, heart rate steady, oxygen saturation climbing, blood pressure normalizing. The senior flight medic, a man with 15 years of combat evacuations, checked the monitors 3 times. He thought they were malfunctioning. Numbers like these didn't match the scene he was looking at. By the time we touched down at William Beaumont Army Medical Center, I was conscious, alert, and asking about my recruits. Every single one of them had survived. Minor injuries, ringing ears, but alive. The trauma surgeon, Colonel Patricia Webb, 30 years of military medicine, 2 combat deployments, chief of surgery, reviewed my initial scans, then reviewed them again, then called in her entire team. They stood in a semicircle around the imaging screens, 8 minutes without oxygen, collapsed lungs, cardiac arrest. The damage was right there in black and white. Colonel Webb pulled up my second set of scans, taken 2 hours after the blast. The room went silent. "Gentlemen," she said quietly, "I've been doing this for 3 decades. I've seen things that push the boundaries of medicine, but this," she shook her head, "this man was dead, clinically dead, and now he's sitting up asking for coffee. I have no explanation." I spent 2 weeks at Beaumont. Every specialist who examined me asked the same questions. Every test produced the same impossible results. Full recovery, 0 permanent damage, complete cognitive function. A Navy cardiologist flew in from San Diego specifically to review my case. He published papers on blast injuries and cardiac trauma. He spent 3 hours going through my records. Finally, he closed the file and looked at me. "Sergeant Chen, I don't believe in things I can't measure, but I can't measure what saved you. By every standard we have, you shouldn't be here." I was medically retired 8 months later. Honorable discharge, full benefits, fully recovered. I'm 39 now, 3 years past my impossible day. I think about those 47 seconds constantly, the space between breathing and not breathing, between here and gone. I was dead, not injured, not critical, dead, and something, call it what you want, fate, God, chance, the universe, something reached down and pulled me back. I don't waste days anymore. I don't leave words unspoken. I hug my kids longer. I tell my wife I love her every single morning, because I know, in a way most people never have to learn, how quickly everything can end. If you believe some miracles can't be explained by science alone, type Amen below. And tonight, before you sleep, tell someone what they mean to you. Don't wait. Don't assume there's always tomorrow. I almost didn't get mine.